there's so many rules in Magic the Gathering that it requires such a knowledge of everything that's going on to be able to, play to your best. And if you are at 2 a.m. with a load of Red Bulls, then, I mean, it could be good. You could have a good time. I know I've had bad times, but that's because it's late and I'm tired. I need to focus, but yeah.
That's what they all say. There's a pill for that.
What's this pill then?
So I can't confirm or deny it.
Jesus.
Where? See, I'm not familiar with games type. I don't play game type, so here in the Garden of Eden, games of that type don't really come into play for me. So I mean, as a noob, I wanted to attract players myself from perhaps an RPG. I mean, how am I going to get on
With Magic?
with Magic the Gathering?
It's
Arena.
It's a slow start because especially playing Arena. Arena has all the rules in and all the mechanics, so it doesn't hold your hand at the beginning very much. It has a brief tutorial which shows you how to play most of it, but a lot of it will be learnt online as you're playing against opponents, and new things will come up. You'll be reading the cards, learning these new rules, and yeah, so it takes a while to get to grips with some of the rules. Like, I'm not even I've been playing since 2011 properly, and I'm still not versed in all the rules. So
It's one of those. Okay. So you really kind of need to invest.
you do. I mean, I can still beat people, not amazingly, not everyone, obviously. And then a lot of it comes into the deck building, where you got to basically choose what cards are in your deck of up to 64, or I think you can have more or whatever, or 52 is it? I don't know. See, exactly, that's another thing. I think you can. There's a range you can have a number of cards in your deck, but it's choosing what cards go in that deck and what cards go well with other cards. So basically, combinations and all that synergy.
See, that almost sounds, like Pazark from Knights of the Old Republic. See, that's something I could get behind, but with perhaps, more mechanics and things. But that was simple. That was a simple game. It's based off blackjack. It's easy.
Yeah, Pazark is it might even be quite similar to Hearthstone, just in the mechanics. Come to think of it, that's how simple Hearthstone is.
So if you had to choose between the two, I mean, what are the prices for each of them at the moment?
Okay,
Roughly.
so they're both free to play.
So what are the microtransactions?
The microtransactions. So basically, they're both free to play, except Hearthstone is heavily pay to win. Magic the Gathering Arena is also pay to win, because they just released this new pack which has 50 Planeswalker cards. Planeswalker cards are very powerful cards. So basically, if you can't have 50 in your deck. I think you could actually, but you need the right colours. But anyway, it gives you access to a lot more powerful cards, and I've noticed myself losing to these decks just because they have them, which makes it a little pay to win. But then Magic has always been pay to win, because it's all about getting the right deck and everything.
Pretty tactical then.
Yes, lots of tactics get involved. And yeah, you gotta make sure you buy the right cards. For example, the only way to get the cards you want in Magic the Gathering is if you play Magic the Gathering online, and then you got to buy individual cards you want for extortionate prices, or you trade them for them in real life. But generally, I think Magic must have been the first to invent the loot box, because you buy those card packs. You know about the card packs, where you get like, you get, I think 7 cards or something, and you get basically
it's a loot box.
Exactly, yeah. But for someone to get into it, it's quite easy to get into. It's just, it's like easy to learn how to master, but not even that hard to. Well, yeah, it is hard to master, I guess, when you add in deck building.
So it's hard to learn, hard to master, pay to win.
Well, I wouldn't say you're hard to learn. The only thing hard to learn is the terms, like Flash. What does Flash do? Flash means you can play a card at any stage in the game. It's just learning the terminology, I guess.
Where does Gwent stack up in all of this?
Gwent I haven't played much. It's similar in its amount of terminology, I know. Recently I've been playing Thronebreaker, which is its like RPG, but instead of combat you have card battles, which is pretty cool.
Are they animated?
Some of the cards are animated, yeah. But it is mainly, well, no, you don't see the actual battle happen, but you basically go onto a battle screen with the cards, and you do a battle that way. But in terms of how Gwent compares, I mean, it's not as complicated as Magic the Gathering, but it's still quite complicated, like definitely more complicated than Hearthstone. It's quite a janky one to play in terms of it's quirky and it's different. It's not a traditional cards game because you got lanes in it where you basically have like a melee lane and a ranged lane. What was that? That's Thronebreaker. Basically, they got a version of Gwent for The Witcher 3. They got a version of Gwent standalone, and they got a different version of Gwent for Thronebreaker. So there are 3 different forms of this card game. So it's quite interesting.
Okay, so there's a bit of a lineup then, kind of based on what level of severity you want your mechanic to have, kind of what fantasy lore you're in.
Yeah. So Magic the Gathering is done by the Wizards of the Coast, who also do Dungeons and Dragons. So they're not in the same universe. However, they're going to be apparently linking the universes up soon. And they're was it not cinematic universe, but yeah, you know what I mean, like a cinematic universe.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, it's not like Dungeons and Dragons at all, I can't think of it. But the one thing that attracts me to Magic is the art style of the cards. I think they're really cool and everything.
I suppose in a game like this, design is kind of incredibly important because it has to hold your interest for that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, yeah, some of them are just great to look at, I guess.
So come on then, for our trucker, who isn't a trucker anymore, living in the base with his baseball on the wrong way with the pickup truck in dungaree with the ghost of his nan shouting dinner is ready. It's a microwave meal delivered from a shop. Which of these games is the way forward? What's your 2 a.m. lay the deck down game out of these 3 then?
Okay, 2 a.m. lay the deck down game. Okay, well, I'm going to rule out Hearthstone immediately because it's pretty much a numbers game in terms of like matching your health to the armor, or whatever it was. I've forgotten, but it's so simple. There's almost no benefit in playing it because long term, you're not going to learn anything new with it or gain anything new. Like, you might learn little nuances and all that stuff, but apart from being pay to win, there's not much to it. So, I mean, you could go with Gwent then, because they are adding new decks to it, although the player base isn't that large. So Gwent is one of them. I'm personally not a huge fan on the playstyle of Gwent and the mechanics, just because they're a little different to usual than what I'm used to, I suppose. I never enjoyed it that much in The Witcher 3. I actually preferred their Liar's Dice type poker's game in the first Witcher. That was quite good fun. But yeah, it's a completely different topic. That. So I mean, I would say go for Magic the Gathering because it has such an extensive amount of cards. I think there's something like 12,000 cards now for it, or more. So, and then you got all the different rules. So, and I'm still picking up small things like when to play cards, when you shouldn't play cards. How it's also like a game of poker because you're meant to reserve cards and play them later. And it's like, and then you're trying to gauge what the opponent's doing. Is he reserving cards as well? Is he gonna, hit you with powerful cards later? Or is he gonna play them as soon as possible? So there's just so much to learn in it and pick up. I mean, I'd almost compare it to Dota in terms of how complex it is. In fact, I would compare it to Dota. It's like two completely different game types, obviously, but it's just the sheer amount of hours you can put in and still learn new things it makes it fun, It makes it a joy to play.
Well, we like that. Okay, that's interesting. And so in terms of replayability as well then?
Replayability. So, Hearthstone, I'm not going to talk about that just because it's the same mechanics. There are different card types, obviously, but it's just, it's so simple. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to annoy a lot of people by saying that, but replayability in Gwent, lots of replayability there. However, I think Magic takes this one because you get, I know the different armies in Gwent, but there are 5 different colours in Magic, and you can combine one. You can have one of them. You can be just like, for example, white or blue or whatever. You can be one colour. Your deck can be made up of one colour, or you can make up of 2, 3, 4, or even 5 if you want. So there's blue, green, red, white, and black, and
massive degree of customization.
Yeah, and each color does its own thing well. So, for example, blue does counters very well. So, if another card is played, it can destroy that card before it hits the table. Green does powerful creatures. Red does damage cards, so you can damage cards using spells. White is all about gaining life. Black is all about losing life. So, in fact, with black, you damage your own health to win the game and give your cards more power and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's just generalizations, all of the colours can do a multitude of things, so there are other things they do, but those are the main ones. And yeah, so you can have a deck which is red and blue, so it counters cards and does damage to cards, or so you can do any combination you want basically, and it makes replayability very high because there's so many different ways you to play, and then that's just you. So it depends what your opponent is. Your opponent could be any combination under the sun. So yeah, and then not even that, you can have, not yet in Arena, but in other digital titles or just plain Magic, you can have you can do 2v2. You might be able to do 3v3. I don't know. I haven't heard of that before. You can do 1v3 and 4v, like a free for all, 4 against each other. That one I've seen in Duels of Planeswalker. So yeah, I mean, there's so much replayability in Magic, it's unreal, I'd say.
It's sounding like it's the clear winner and what's about on the market. So what about availability?
Currently Magic Gathering Arena is PC only. However, when it's released, because currently it's in beta, they're going to release it on iOS, Android, PC. I imagine Xbox and PlayStation, because I think one of the old Duels of the Planeswalker titles was on Xbox or PlayStation, or even both. So I imagine they'll maximize on that and get it everywhere they can, but definitely mobile devices and PC.